Hey everybody, it's Matt from You and Your Horror Movies, and today, since tomorrow, technically I think it's now, is St. Patrick's Day. Good old St. Paddy's Day. I am not going to do my Irish accent because it's atrocious, and since I'm Irish, I'll probably be making fun of myself, and I don't want to put blame on myself on that. So today, we're going to talk about the Leprechaun films. These Leprechaun movies some are good, some are pretty bad. And they're just fun some are just fun to watch, especially on St. Patrick's Day. There's a lot of other films out there, but I wanted to go through pretty much the whole Leprechaun collection and throw in a couple, like an extra goodie in the mix. So, again, let's talk Leprechaun movies. All right, right off the bat, we have the Leprechaun collection. Now, this is a -1. So, pretty much with this Leprechaun collection, if you don't already own it, it's pretty cheap on Amazon. Has a cool slipcover, and again, has pretty much 1 through 6 in Origins, which has nothing to do with the series. But we're going to talk about that one too anyway. So here, the Blu-ray has 1 and 2 on one disc, 3 and 4 on next, the hoods on that disc, and Origin has its own disc here. So, again, the first movie, Leprechaun 1. Jennifer Aniston's first movie, which is very interesting. So, pretty much with this one, a couple has actually caught a leprechaun. It's been evil. So they trap it in a box and put a 4-leaf clover on top of the box, pretty much. So now, fast forward, the guy dies and everything, so the house is pretty much left in rubble. Jennifer Aniston's character somehow acquires his home. It's like a fixer-upper. She hires a couple people to paint and everything, meets the handyman, and of course, they somehow release this evil leprechaun. And of course, it's played by Warwick Davis, who plays in pretty much all the Leprechaun movies, except for 2. Well, 3 if you count another one I'm talking about, but we'll get into that later. So, of course, one of the gentlemen finds his pot of gold and steals the pot of gold. He accidentally eats one of them, too, which plays an important role into a later film. And anyway, so, of course, the leprechaun's loose. He's after his pot of gold. He'll kill anybody in the way to get his gold. And he does. He murders, maims, and kills anyone in the way. And you have Jennifer Aniston trying to stop this evil leprechaun with her little soiree of people. And in this one, the leprechaun is mostly vulnerable to 4-leaf clovers. 4-leaf clovers are his weakness and demise in this movie. Pretty cool. Fun, awesome flick. I enjoy watching this one a lot. This one definitely had a run in the theaters. And again, it spawned a new horror villain, pretty much. Because, of course, we started having more Leprechaun movies. It's turning into a franchise. So move out of the way, Child's Play. Move out of the way, Friday the 13th. Leprechaun is sliding in with some Irish gore. So yeah, that's pretty much part 1. I'm going to do a little quick reviews. I'm not going to get into complete huge details on these because majority of people have seen these movies. But anyway, for part 2 and the rest are pretty much direct to sequels, again, except for Origins. Origins actually had a in theater, which was odd, but anyway. So part 2, it's the leprechaun's 100 years old. He is after his wife, and of course, the only way for him to get his wife, he has to make this woman sneeze 3 times. If no one says God bless you, he can rope her in and get what he wants. Well, something happens, someone does say God bless you, it pretty much pisses him off, and the people decide to capture him and send him into this like tree trunk world where that's like his lair now, and he's asleep. Well, fast forward another 100 years. So now the leprechaun is now 200 years old. He is awakened by a group of, I think they were tourists. No, there was an old man. There was like a homeless guy. He somehow awakens the leprechaun, and of course he gets killed. Now the Leprechaun wants his wife. And pretty much he finds one of the descendants of the girl that he was supposed to marry 100 years ago to get her and pretty much stop this curse. So, of course, he does this trick to making her sneeze. She does sneeze 3 times, and now the Leprechaun pretty much has her. Now her boyfriend is after him to somehow get his girlfriend back, while one of his best friends steals some of the gold. So now, of course, the Leprechaun can't do anything without his gold. His gold is his powers, pretty much. He has to go out on this funny-ass murder rampage to kill people to get his gold back, while the other gentleman has to get his girlfriend back. And we get to see, like, the lair of the Leprechaun, which is kind of neat. It's all in this weird tree trunk, tree world, mazes, everything. It's pretty cool. So, yeah, we got some pretty good kills. Like the barista with the cappuccino machine. There was the one with the security guard getting run over by a go-kart, a modified go-kart, to say the least. So, of course, now the Leprechaun is adding more humor to his kills, like he did before, like he would do in rhymes. So, of course, we have that going. But again, Leprechaun 2, direct sequel, it's a fun one. So, now we get into part 3. Part 3 of Leprechaun, part 2 with the Leprechaun, his main weakness is raw iron. Somehow Florida Clovers don't really do much, but raw iron is his weakness. They say that they do with fairies, because he's considered a fairy with the Leprechaun folk. So anything mystical, raw iron is its weakness. So now we get into the third one. The third one pretty much takes us close to Vegas, well, actually in Vegas. This gentleman brings in this statue, pretty much of the Leprechaun. He's got this gold medallion on, and got his pot of gold and everything. Tries to sell the statue because he thinks it's a good luck charm. He needs the money, blah, blah, blah. So, of course, the pawn shop owner decides, what the hell. He takes the medallion off, which was a big mistake. That how releases the Leprechaun from his statue imprisonment. Now, with this, wow, my cat's making some running noises. So anyway, he is released, and of course he kills the pawn shop. Meanwhile, your main character, I'm horrible with names. I forgot what his name was. He's just moving into Vegas. He's going to school. He meets up with this girl. He likes her. He decides to go to the pawn shop to, try to get some money. He finds the dead pawn shop owner, sees the gold. So, of course, he takes some of the gold, and pretty much now he realizes he can make a wish with this gold. The gold can grant wishes. So, of course, he grants a wish to be a winner. Whatever game he plays, he wins. So, of course, the Leprechaun finds out that this guy is stolen his gold. He goes after him in Vegas. At the same time, the casino owner is this kind of like a mob boss. He doesn't like to lose, and of course he's losing money left and right, and pretty much goes after this guy to say, hey, get out of my casino, I'm going to kill you, or I'm just going to kill you, and get his gold coin, because he's realized this gold coin has some powers. And of course, your main character meets with the Leprechaun, they battle, he gets bit by him, and with the Leprechaun's blood and his blood, somehow morph him into a Leprechaun himself. Like he's a human Leprechaun hybrid. So pretty much now this gold coin has been going through the casino. People are granting wishes. And of course the Leprechaun goes after that individual and kills him. He has some pretty interesting kills. Like there's this really goofy magician. This girl that likes the magician, and she had all this plastic surgery. There's even like a death with robot sex dolls. it's pretty fucking weird. Again, it's another direct-to-video sequel of the Leprechaun, and I like how they took it to Vegas, because Vegas is, wishes, dreams, and everything happening, money exchange. The Leprechaun could do some damage in Vegas. So yeah, so that's part 3. Now we go to part 4. For some reason, a lot of part 4s take place in outer space. Leprechaun 4 takes place in space. Critters 4. Hellraiser 4. So it's like outer space is the thing. And this time, the Leprechaun is in outer space, going after a princess for him to marry. And when he gets and marries her, he can take over this planet. We don't know how this leprechaun's in there, but he's in outer space. Anyway, these space marines show up and try to rescue the princess, and they blow up the leprechaun. So they bring her back, and not knowing that one of the space marines has brought something aboard, and of course, the leprechaun grows pretty much inside of him and explodes him everywhere. And now the leprechaun's loose in space. There's also a gentleman who is a weird scientist. He has now transformed himself from a human to like a cyborg. His character is very fucking weird. And he wants the princess so he can turn himself pretty much into more human. So of course there's the leprechauns going around murdering people in space. And he teams up with the scientist. This turns him into a giant leprechaun monster. This one's like one of the bad ones. It's so weird and off the wall. It's like, what can we throw at you? Let's put the leprechaun in space. Sure, why not? Who knows? People need money. Let's make this movie. So that's pretty much Leprechaun in space. Alright, what's worse than space? Now we're going to go to the Hood with parts 5 and 6. Leprechaun 5 is pretty much about these 3 or 4 rappers. They meet up with Ice-T. Ice-T's in it. He's like a pimp. They need money. So pretty much they want to go to Vegas for a rap concert. And Ice-T screws them over. And pretty much they decide, let's break in, steal some money. They steal a flute and they find the statue of the leprechaun. Take the chain, of course, and now he is loose in the hood. Ice-T is after these young rappers, and now the leprechaun is after these young rappers. So you got a lot of weird kills. The leprechaun is rapping. Yeah. So that's pretty much the gist of Leprechaun in the Hood. There are some very funny moments, like when the leprechaun is smoking weed, he gets high, he kills the guy with the bong. Or was that part 6? It was one of the two. Those two kind of mix and match. Like with the Back to the Hood, this woman is a hairdresser. She finds a fortune full of gold. She divides it to her friends. And the shop owner says, hey, don't do this gold. It will summon a leprechaun from hell. And guess what? It does. And now the leprechaun's loose in the hood again, killing people. So again, it's so weird that they did the whole in the hood thing with the leprechauns, but it is what it is, and they made those movies. Alright, so now we're going to go into a film that pretty much majority of people all hate. We're talking about the 2014 Leprechaun Origin. Now, Leprechaun Origin has nothing to do with the franchise itself, and that's what a lot of people hate about this movie. It doesn't even have Warwick Davis in it. If you're familiar with wrestling, there was a character named Hornswoggle. He plays the leprechaun in this movie. Now, this one, I think if they did not call it Leprechaun Origin, it would have gotten a little bit better treatment. Because I watched the movie, not going into it as part of the franchise. I said, keep it in your head, solo release. And for what it wasn't bad creature feature. Excuse me, because it's more of a creature monster movie because the leprechaun's it's not dressed like a leprechaun at all. There's no little green hat, shoes, a shillelagh, and all that other shit. It's very demonic looking. Think of it as like It's Alive, grown up, but just never fully grown. It stayed into its dwarf size. So pretty much with this, you have 4 backpackers in Ireland. They're going around, hitting all the sites, and they go to this small village. The villagers are very, and decide, what? There's a place up in the hills in the woods area where you can get free, room and board and everything. So, of course, they send them on their way. Not knowing that this village has a dark secret. They're aware of this evil little leprechaun, and they pretty much have to feed it and keep it at bay, or it comes pretty much after everybody else. So, of course, these people now are on the run. They're on the hunt. They're being hunted by this evil little demonic-looking leprechaun. And again, when people went to go saw this, they were pissed off because one, Warwick Davis is not in it. Two, it has nothing to do with the franchise. So why call it Leprechaun Origins? They should have called it something else. If they called it something else, I think again it would have better, I don't know, ratings and everything. The movie itself, again, I didn't mind it, but again, you have to not watch it as part of the franchise because you're gonna fucking hate it. So that's pretty much the gist of the Leprechauns in this collection. Now, Sci-Fi Channel came back, and I think this was 2018. Yeah, I think it was 2018. And it brought us back to the original Leprechaun movie, a complete sequel to the first one, called Leprechaun Returns. Now, with this one, spitting image of the whole first movie sequelized into this. Again, this does not have Warwick Davis. This one has someone completely different, and the name is not on here. I'm horrible with names because I probably looked it up before and it's completely out of my head. So anyway, with this one, there's a bunch of college girls. They buy the old farm from the very first movie, and they're trying to, live off the grid, try to, save some money in college. They're like agriculturalists. They're all everything. This one girl who's coming in from a different area meets up with her driver, who happens to be Ollie from the very first movie. He's still living there. He has 4 clovers everywhere. He's very, odd. But he has a reason to be odd because he survived the first fucking movie. So, of course, he finds out that this girl is the daughter of Jennifer Aniston's character, which we don't see Jennifer Aniston in this movie, but she's literally the daughter of her, and she wants to get away from her mom because her mom's supposedly gone crazy and everything. So they come to the house, and of course Ollie's like, oh shit, I need to get away from this place because you need to get out of here. Well, anyway, the girls somehow, where the leprechaun died in the first movie through the well, they're trying to get the water out of the well, and they release the evil leprechaun. And this leprechaun knows where some of his gold is, especially in good old Ollie, because remember in the first movie, he ate a piece, and it's still stuck in his gut. And of course, this leprechaun emerges from his gut all gory, and poor guy, he just gets disintegrated from his gut out. And this new leprechaun, and he actually mentions it, which I thought was fucking awesome in this movie. When he comes out of the body, he cleans himself off. He's like, man, it's been years, such and such. He looks in the mirror and goes, man, I even look different. Wow, I've changed so much. So that was an awesome nod, knowing, Warwick Davis couldn't get into this one. So they made that change to make him look different and to say that he was different. So very good nods to this. So now, of course, this leprechaun is looking for his gold again. And he goes after the college girls, and a bunch of the college guys show up to, try to hook up with the girls. And they all start getting murdered in different cool ways. And I thought it was fantastic. Some of the kills in this are awesome. I laughed my ass off. I watch this one a lot now, too, because with this, you get some good gore and very big nods to the first movie. Which were the other ones, the sequels are just so weird. But this one is a direct sequel to the first movie, and it pretty much ignores all the rest. Kind of sounds like Halloween, right? Some of the other sequels that they're doing. So I definitely highly recommend getting Leprechaun Returns. So cool. Even though it's from a sci-fi, the gore is insane. Some guy gets split in half. There's a cool drone kill. I'm not saying all the rest of the kills, but the kills are pretty good. So I do want to throw this extra movie in, because this is actually another fun Irish leprechaun type movie. Has nothing to do with the Leprechaun franchise, thank God. And they don't even say that in there. We are talking about the movie Red Clover. Now, this is also an After Dark Horror Fest. This aired on Sci-Fi. And it was originally called Leprechaun's Revenge. That's when it was aired on TV as Leprechaun's Revenge. So they figured, well, we might not get in trouble with that. Let's rename it and call it Red Clover. Now, a red clover is the small town who is all big into their Irish heritage. There's a guy who is, they think he's a Looney Tune because he knows the backstory of this town. The town grew up, supposedly, they caught a leprechaun back then, and they pretty much tormented this leprechaun to get his gold, to be wealthy and rich, and that's how this town originated. And everyone believes there's no such thing as fucking leprechauns, blah, blah, blah. So he takes his daughter out, and she is in her teens and whatnot. I think it was like a hunting thing. And what happens was there was an accident. She gets this red clover on her hand. And what happens is like a weird spot, bruise, wound. And what happens is it releases this leprechaun in the town. Now, this leprechaun doesn't talk. It's very evil looking, demonic looking. And pretty much it likes to eat gold. It doesn't want to collect gold. It eats it. And it will kill anyone in the way to get gold. Because it's very hungry. And of course, the town's realizing, uh-oh, this thing is actually real. And it's got Billy Zane in it, which I thought was pretty neat. There's a couple other big names in here. And so now the town has to, people have to realize how to stop this leprechaun. And they have to go pretty much to their uncle, who was the town loon, says, leprechauns aren't real. Well, they are. So pretty much now the town, this group has to stop this evil leprechaun. The body count is very high, which I thought was awesome. Very gory, good blood and guts. People get eviscerated and dissected. This this leprechaun, that doesn't eat people, it just rips them apart. It's got long, sharp claws and just tears at your flesh. Where if it's got gold, it just wants to eat the gold. So I thought that was really cool. Definitely cool body count. Some deaths in this surprised me when the first time I saw it. I thought, oh, that person's going to live. Nope. So yeah, I highly recommend checking out Red Clover too, especially if you're into the Leprechaun movies. You want something different to watch during St. Patty's Day, watch this one. Even the song at the end is awesome. I love the song in the credits. All right, guys, that is my little hoedown on Let's Talk Leprechaun movies. Let me know in the comments down below, guys, your thoughts on the Leprechaun franchise. What are some of your favorite Leprechaun movies? What are some of your ones that you really hate? I could probably guess which ones. But anyway, definitely, guys, let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on the Leprechaun movies. All right, guys, stay safe and drink safe, especially on St. Patty's Day. And watch out for the little green guys. Not aliens, though. Peace.